Good morning everyone. Assalamu alaikum. I'm Dina Okesha. النهارده إن شاء الله 31st of December تمام 2023. So happy new year everyone ويا رب السنة الجديدة كده تبقى سنة حلوة علينا كلنا. This is part 4 of probability, and as you can see يا جماعة, probability is a big topic and I'm trying to give you all the ideas that I can. Okay, now we're going to discuss in this video, we are going to discuss the independent questions. And we're going to see through this video, what do I mean by independent sort of questions? But before we start our examples, we need to go through some vocabulary words that are still remaining. في عندنا لسه كام vocabulary word كده ما شرحناهاش, فمحتاجين ان احنا we go through them first before we get into these types of questions اللي هم independent questions. Now I'm going to share the notes and I'm going to go back to this table over here. Now, this is in your notes, page number 272. Now, we have discussed most of the vocabulary words in this table over here. Now, independent, as you can see, and the meaning of independent is that the probabilities in the question are not related to one another. والحتة دي مش هتفهموها غير لما نحل. Now, we are going to explain what do I mean by at least, at most, until, and I'm going just to add, and I want you to add this part over here, the definition of the opposite event. What is the opposite event? And I want you actually to write this down, please, if you have my notes. Now, first, I'm going to start with the meaning of at least. What do I mean by at least? At least معناها the number and more. يعني إيه the number and more؟ يعني لما أنا أجي أقول لكم مثلا دلوقتي في آخر السنة, in order to get a star, you have to get at least 90%. What do I mean by that? يعني إيه at least 90%؟ يعني أنا علشان أجيب star آخر السنة لازم أجيب 90 and more. لازم أجيب 90 and more. So this is what at least means. Now, at least بتيجي كتيرة في الامتحانات. يعني I have seen several questions related to at least. At most, I didn't see it a lot, but we have to explain it as well. Now, what do I mean by at most? Let's assume أنا مثلا I have assessed my students and I gave them the quiz, and this quiz was out of 10, for example. And when I checked my exam papers, the maximum grade was 7. The most grade was 7. What does that mean? What does this mean about the grades of my students? ده معناه إنه my students got 7 and less. So at most means the number and less. يعني at least معناها minimum. At most is the maximum. The maximum grade of my students was 7. Okay? زي ما اتفقنا, at least هي المهمة. And this, of course, I'm going to explain through an example. Until, what do I mean by until? Until يعني مثلا, let's assume I have a box and this box is full of oranges. برتقان. طبعا بما ان احنا في الشتاء ودلوقتي ده السيزون بتاع البرتقان. وفي برتقان good. Okay, يعني برتقانة حلوة كده أقدر أكلها وتبقى لطيفة, وفي برتقان bad. So let's assume inside the box I have bad oranges all over the box, and I have good oranges. I have bad oranges and I have good oranges. I'm just explaining the word until. يعني until. أنا هنا, I am standing and I'm going to pick an orange. I am going to pick an orange. بس أنا عايزة orange واحدة بس. يعني I just need one. Okay? فمثلا what I did is that I picked a bad orange. طبعا I threw it away. And then I picked another bad orange. Okay? And then I picked a good orange. I stop خلاص at this stage because I got the good orange. So what am I doing is that I am going to pick oranges until I get a good one. يعني أنا بقعد أخد برتقان لحد ما يطلع لي برتقانة كويسة. فمش معناها إن أنا باخد كله كويس، لا، معناها إن أنا أخدت واحدة باد وبعد كده أخدت واحدة باد وبعد كده مثلا أخدت واحدة باد تاني. When do I stop? I stop when I get a good orange. I stop when I get a good orange. فأنا عمالة أحط إيدي جوه البوكس وآخد برتقان، أحط جوه البوكس وآخد برتقان. كل ما أحط إيدي تطلع واحدة وحشة، كل ما أحط إيدي تطلع واحدة وحشة. إمتى أوقف؟ أول ما يطلع لي واحدة كويسة. So let's assume I took 4 oranges in total. So let's assume I took 4 oranges in total. How many bad or how many good? the first 3 oranges are bad oranges. And then the fourth is the good one. The fourth is the good one. وده معنى until. Until ما جاتش كتير قوي في الامتحانات بس كانت جت قبل كده. we have to explain it. So this is what until means. Now the last thing we're going to discuss in this table over here before I move on to independent examples, and we're going to go through these طبعا. Then this video is about independent examples and word problems. What is the opposite event? Now we're going to play a little game. Okay, and in this game, I'm going to ask you about the opposite, مثلا, of the word black. طبعا, all of you would say that the opposite of black is white. Let me ask another question. What is the opposite of sad? طبعا, most of you would say the opposite of sad is happy. Okay? What is the opposite of the color green? ايه ده؟ يعني ايه opposite of the color green؟ لو انا جيت قلت لكم بقى what is the opposite of the number 10؟ طبعا I get so many answers. I miss negative 10. طب مش عارفة 1 على 10. Now in math we think of the opposite event بطريقة مختلفة شوية. So the opposite of black will not be white. The opposite of black will be anything that is not black. It doesn't have to be white. أنا بتكلم يا جماعة على الماث. It doesn't have to be white. It could be any other color. So the same thing here. The opposite of sad is not happy. مش لازم أنا أكون sad فالعكس بتاعها إن أنا مبسوطة. لا, ممكن أكون مقريفة, زهقانة. يعني so many other feelings. So in math, the opposite of sad is not sad. Any other feeling than the sad. So please remember this word carefully. So now when I tell you what is the opposite of green, your answer طبعا will definitely be not green. The opposite of 10 is not 10. The opposite of even doesn't have to be odd. It could be not even. So we'll see. So please remember يا جماعة, this word over here, not black, not sad, not green, not 10. And let's go back to our table and write the opposite event. If I ask you, or if I give you this question, and I want you please to write it down, if you have my notes طبعا. لو أنا جيت قلت لكم, if the probability of the pink is 0.3, then what is the probability of not pink? And for the last time, طبعا يا جماعة, please, I would advise that if you want to study probability, please watch the videos من الأول. يعني part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, and so on. Let's just remember together, what do I mean by probability of pink 0.3? Now, if I change this to a fraction, it changes into 3 over 10. Meaning, if I have a total of 10 items, 3 of them are pink. So what is the probability of not pink? Now, since we know that the maximum probability is equal to 1, then to find the remaining of how to find the opposite event, هنعمل 1 minus 0.3, which is كام? 0.7. So please remember this. إنه if you want to find the probability of the opposite event, بنعمل 1 minus the event. And this is almost everything that you need to know. I think now we have discussed all the vocabulary words in this table. Now let's go to independent questions, and let's stay at the notes at this page over here, which is page number 278. And let's understand, what do I mean by independent questions? Independent questions, as you can see, the numbers in the question are not related to one another. So let's see what's happening in this question over here. بيقول لي إيه هنا بقى? Give your answer in this question as fractions. Okay? The probability that it rains today is 2 over 3. Okay? If it rains today, then the probability of tomorrow is 3 over 4. If it doesn't rain today, the probability of tomorrow is 1 على 6. Complete the tree diagram. Now let's just يعني ignore كل موضوع التعبير اللي كان مكتوب فوق ده, and let's just look at this diagram over here. And as I always tell you يا جماعة, whenever you're dealing with probability questions, دايما try and relate it to a story, as if you're telling yourself a story. فإحنا دلوقتي أنا مذيعة ودي النشرة الجوية. اوكي, actually الدنيا فعلا مغيمة قدامي, شكلها كده هتمطر. اوكي, so المذيعة بتتكلم على which days. المذيعة بتتكلم على today and tomorrow. So in this question now, if you remember in the previous videos, I always told you that you must write the scenario first, as the scenario is very important. لأنه in this video, we're going to start with word problems that do not have tree. Okay. Now, I am discussing أو أنا كمذيعة قاعدة بقول للناس يا جماعة النهاردة هي هتمطر أو مش هتمطر وبكرة هتمطر أو مش هتمطر. So my scenario is discussing the first and the second. And the first and the second in this question are today and tomorrow. Now let's look at the tree of today. This is the tree of today. طبعا as we said, the sum of any tree is equal to 1. لو فاكرين يا جماعة قلنا the sum of any dot is equal to 1, and that was explained in full details in the previous videos. So I can easily calculate the value of s. I can either do 1 minus 2 على 3, which gives a fraction of 1 over 3, or if you wish to do it in a much easier way, 3 minus 2 is equal to 1. And this is the first tree. And these are the numbers of today. Now let's look at tomorrow. Tomorrow has totally different numbers. Okay, tomorrow has, as you can see, totally different numbers. Okay, the rain of today has numbers, and the not rain of today has totally different numbers. Okay, so these trees, they're not in the same garden. ده كل شجرة في حديقة لوحدها. طبعا let's look at the green tree, this tree over here. طبعا for tomorrow, the rain is 3 over 4. How do I find the no rain? As we said, you can either 1 minus 3 over 4, which is 1 over 4, or you can just subtract 4 minus 3. So these are the numbers of raining. Yani if it rains today, these are the numbers of tomorrow. And let's look at the blue tree. If it doesn't rain today, then tomorrow has totally different numbers. طبعا this is 1 over 6, so definitely the U is going to be 5 over 6. And I think you know, but how did we get 5 over 6? Again, it's either 1 minus 1 over 6, or you can just subtract 6 minus 1. So these are the independent questions. As you can see, they explain themselves. The numbers are not related to one another. Each tree has its own numbers, and each tree, the sum of each tree must be equal to 1. Now let's see, أنا كمذيعة دلوقتي قاعدة بقول للناس الforecast. So what will I tell them? I will tell them that it will either rain today and it will rain tomorrow, or it will rain today and it will not rain tomorrow, or it will not rain today and it will rain tomorrow, or it will not rain and it will not rain. These are the possibilities that we have. Okay, and I guess بقى خلاص we did this in details in the previous questions and know how to write these outcomes over here. So we have one outcomes. And please يا جماعة remember that المذيعة الجوية cannot jump to tomorrow unless she tells me what happens today. لازم تقول لي النهارده هيحصل كذا وبكره هيحصل كذا. ما ينفعش تقول لي بكره هيحصل كذا من غير ما تقول لي النهارده هيحصل كذا. تمام؟ لأنه the and questions are always discussing both items or more. دايما بنتكلم على حاجتين أو أكتر. Okay, طبعا the first question here says, write as fractions the value of S, the value of T, and the value of U. We already did that. Now let's look at question number II. Now the remaining of the questions in دايما في المسائل بتاعت probability, you will be asked بقى to find the value of the probability of one of these, يعني one of these, or more than one. It depends on what the question requires. هنا بيقول لي calculate the probability that it rains on both days. Let's write the scenario. وتاني يا جماعة بأكد على قصة السيناريو ده لأن احنا كمان 10 دقايق هندخل على ال word problems. Okay, now the scenario has two items which are today and tomorrow. So my first and second in this question over here are today and tomorrow. Today and tomorrow. The examiner says I want the probability that it rains both days. أنا كمذيعة هقول إيه للمتفرجين؟ هقول لهم يا متفرجين, please be aware it is going to rain today and it will rain tomorrow. Rain today and rain tomorrow. Of course, since we have the tree diagram in front of me, how do I find the numbers? أهو I'm at this branch over here. Rain today, so 2/3. And rain tomorrow. And قلنا is translated into multiplication. Rains tomorrow, which is 3/4. طبعا on the calculator, I will get the final answer after simplest form, which is equal to half. Okay? And again, if we are if we have a tree diagram in the question, use it. يعني أنا مش ضد إن إحنا نستعملها. Okay? We're taking it one step at a time. And I think يا جماعة that we are explaining يعني in full details probability. Let's look back at question III. The question here بقى says what? Says, calculate the probability that it will not rain tomorrow. Please يا جماعة, even if you're lost and the question بالنسبة لكم is tricky, please start with the steps that we always say. What is my scenario? My scenario in this question is today and tomorrow. This is the scenario. It's not just today, it's not just tomorrow. It's today and tomorrow. Now, the examiner in question III gave me the condition about tomorrow. The examiner said that it will not rain tomorrow. So I know for a fact that for tomorrow it will not rain. طيب, what about today? انت سايبها لي مفتوحة كده, يعني أنا أعمل إيه أنا دلوقتي? Let's go to the tree diagram over here and look at my 4 outcomes. I'm just going to erase الدوشة دي هنا عشان بس ما تتوهوش مني. Okay? And let's see. The examiner gave me the condition of tomorrow. He said that it will not rain tomorrow. So from these 4 outcomes, where are the outcomes that tomorrow doesn't rain? عندي ده أهو no rain tomorrow, وهنا no rain tomorrow. So these are the 2 outcomes, or these are the 2 options that have my examiner's condition. الexaminer قال لي بكرة مش هتمطر. اوكي, بدل بكرة مش هتمطر وبالنسبة للنهاردة, since it is open, so I take all the possibilities of today. يبقى أنا هنا 100% it will not rain tomorrow. But what about today? It will rain today and it will not rain tomorrow, or it will not rain today and it will not rain tomorrow. So from the diagram, I have 2 options over here and I wrote them. 2 options يعني 2 brackets. Okay? Please يا جماعة أرجوكوا بلاش إن إحنا نبتكر. In the bracket, 2 items multiplied. In the bracket, 2 items multiplied. Or, as we said, means plus. And then I take the numbers from the tree. Okay? Rain and no rain. Oh, rain and no rain. So 2/3 times 1/4. Okay? And then I will take the second option, which is no rain and no rain. 1/3 times 5/6. خدوا بالكم, هو it's the same concept. يعني لو جيتوا بصيتوا هتلاقوا انه خلاص هو نفس الكونسبت, بس هي الفكرة انه انا بس ليه بحب ان احنا نعمل كده, so that at least we have an idea about the sort of questions that we have over here. So let me just go through the numbers again, لانه احيانا بس انا بتلخبط في الارقام. So here it says find the probability that it will not rain tomorrow. So I take the rain and the no rain, and then rain or no rain, and then no rain and no rain. And then on the calculator, you'll get this answer over here. So as you can see, this is an independent question. And I just wanted to show you that in independent questions, the numbers are not just related, they're not related to one another, but the method of solving is the same. The method of solving is the same. Okay, so let's take another example related to at least. And يبقى احنا we did one independent question, the one in the notes. Now we will do a question with at least. Okay. طيب, let's look at this question over here. Okay, this is in your classified part 2, page number 210. Classified part 2, page number 210. And in this question over here, we are going to discuss the at least questions. The at least questions. Okay. Now let's see. طيب هنا غالبا هنعمل دي at least, and then we'll go back to the notes بقى and start with word problems. Okay, so let's look بقى how do I deal with at least questions. هنا بيقول لي, again, this is classified part 2, page 210. Marcus plays 2 games of tennis. 2 games of tennis. This is always translated into, as you can see, first and second. So Marcus is a tennis player. For each game that Marcus, for each game, the probability that Marcus wins is 0.35. Now, I can easily find the probability of not winning. طبعا, how do I find the probability of not winning? 1 minus. We know that. 1 minus 0.35, which is 0.65. Now, so Marcus is a tennis player. Let's get a draw Marcus over here. And as we said, always try أنا بلعب tennis. To, as we said, try and deal with these questions as if it's a story. Now, let's analyze Marcus's performance. Is Marcus a good player? What do you think? Definitely not. He's not a good player, because the probability of the winning, if I change it into a fraction, or even if I change it into a percentage, it would be 35 over 100. So from every 100 games, he only wins 35. So he's not a very good player. He needs to work on himself. Okay, so these are the numbers of the first game. Now let's look at the trees of the second game. ايه ده؟ أنا هنا ما عنديش أرقام. طيب, let's go back to the question. Do I have any information in the question that indicate that the second game has different numbers? لا, the second game doesn't have different numbers. Why? Because مبدئيا it's the same person. Marcus قرر إن هو ما improve. He doesn't want to improve his performance. And there is nothing in the question that indicates different values for the second game. مفيش. لو كان في أرقام مختلفة للسكند جيم كان هيقول لي زي المسألة بتاعة الrain with no rain. It said that the numbers of tomorrow are كذا كذا كذا. Here it doesn't say it. So I will use the same numbers for Marcus. All the winning is 0.35 and all the losing is 0.65. Now, أنا المدرب, I am the coach of Mr. Marcus. Now, Marcus must play 2 games. What are the possible scenarios of Marcus? طبعا, I guess يا جماعة, we know it, يعني how to write the possibilities or how to write the outcomes. Marcus can win and win. So the first probability of the first outcome of Marcus is win and win. Let's calculate it. تعالوا نحسبها. Type win and win, يعني I will take the 0.35 multiplied by 0.35 and let's do the math. I have a point يا جماعة في اللي أنا بعمله ده, وخدوا بالكم حبايبي الفيديوز دي كلها explaining videos. فأنا sometimes I do it in some details for you to understand. So this is the winning and the winning. What is the second scenario of Marcus? The second scenario of Marcus is win the first, lose the second. This is the second scenario. Write it down. Win and lose. Let's again calculate this probability over here. See, the probability of Marcus is for him to win both games is miserable صراحة. Marcus ده مش عارفة ازاي أصلا هو لعيب تنس. So the winning is 0.35. The losing is 0.65. And let's calculate it. 0.35 times 0.65, I will get an answer of 0.2275. Okay, now the third option of Said Marcus is to lose at first, then win. Lose at first, then win. So lose and win. Do you think I'll get the same answer as this? Yes, because the lose is 0.65 and the win is 0.35, so I will get this same number over here. I just يعني ايه change their order، وفي المultiplication مش بتفرق التغيير. طبعا the last option for Marcus is lose and lose، إن هو he loses both games. Lose and lose. So 0.65 times 0.65. هو أنا بعمل recording؟ دي الخيبة. Yes, I am. Okay. 0.65 times 0.65 هتطلع 0.4225. So المدرب بتاع ماركس بيقول له you have the option of winning both games, or يا Marcus you can win the first, lose the second, or يا Marcus you can lose the first and win the second, or يا Marcus you can lose both games. These are the possibilities of السيد Marcus. So how many outcomes does he have? 4. Now please pay attention. If I add the probabilities of السيد Marcus, if I add these probabilities, what do you think the answer will be? If I add the probabilities of all 4 outcomes of Marcus, I must have a sum of 1. I must have a sum of 1. Let's look بقى at question number B so that we discuss the meaning of at least. جه بقى المدرب بتاعه قال له ايه؟ قال له يا ماركس يا حبيبي احنا عايزين نتأهل للدور اللي جاي. اوكي؟ السيمي فاينلز او whatever. فقال له in order for you to qualify to the semi-finals يا سيد ماركس, you must win at least one of the 2 games. قلنا at least one زي ما شرحناها earlier this video معناها ايه؟ the number and more. ده معنى at least one. يعني ايه at least one? So how many games is Marcus playing? Marcus is playing 2 games. يا عم اكسب لي على الأقل 1. يعني ايه على الأقل 1؟ يعني you can win 1 game or win both games. فجي ماركس قال له طب اكسب انهي الماتش؟ الاولاني ولا التاني؟ قال له مش فارقة. So at least one means اهي let's do the scenario here on the side first and second. At least one means يا 1 game تكسبه يا 2 games. يعني انا تعالوا نشوف بقى قصة ال1 game اللي اكسبه ده. ايوه يا كوتش يعني انت عايزني اكسب 1 game؟ قال له طيب انهي جيم؟ قال له مش فارقة. You can win the first, lose the second, or lose the first and win the second. مش هتفرق. دي قصة ال1 game. احنا قلنا at least one يعني one or more. Okay? So I either win 1 game مش فارقة بقى ترتيبه, or I win both games. So these are the scenarios of السيد ماركس. Okay? اللي هم دول. أول 3. Let's add them together and see what is the answer. Win and win اللي هي 0.1225 plus win and lose plus lose and win. طبعا of course these 2 you can combine them into 1 and double it. This is one way of solving which is valid 100%. 0.1225 plus 2 times open bracket 0.2275. So the probability is 0.5775. And actually somehow this is a good probability. يعني at least عدى النص بشوية. Okay? طيب. Is there a shortcut of solving at least 1 questions? Do I have a shortcut of these sort of questions? Yes, I do. لأنه يا جماعة أحيانا المسائل بتاعت at least one دي بتبقى الأوبشنز بتاعتها طويلة جدا. تاني بقى المدرب بيقول له إيه؟ أنت يا ابني يا تكسب ماتشين، يا تكسب ماتش وتخسر التاني، يا تخسر وتكسب، بس never lose both games. If you lose both games, you will not be qualified. So what is the opposite event in this question? The opposite event in this question is lose and lose. Since the sum of the probabilities is equal to 1, if I took the maximum and I subtract from it the opposite event, do you think I will get this number over here? Yes, I will. 1 minus 0.4225. Yes, I will get the same answer, which is 0.5775. I'm going to go through this again quickly, and I'm going to summarize it again. بس بالنسبة لي يا جماعة, this is very important. The shortcut of at least one questions. The shortcut of at least one questions. Now, these are the options of Marcus. Win and win, win and lose, lose and win, lose and lose. Lose and lose is the opposite event. Why it's the opposite event? Because it's the event he is not allowed to do. الكوتش قال له انت تكسب لي at least one match, at least one game. So you either win the first or the second, or you win both. These are the options, or these are the outcomes that he is allowed to do. What is he not allowed to do? He is not allowed to lose both games. So this is over here the opposite event. The opposite event اللي هو الممنوع. Since the sum of the probabilities is equal to 1, لو أنا عملت 1 minus the opposite, I will get the remaining 3. So when do I use this shortcut اللي هي 1 minus the opposite event? I will use this shortcut in at least 1 questions. في مسائل at least twice. at least twice مش بتفرق أكتر في at least 1. Okay? Now, we're done with 3 diagrams. Let's move on بقى دلوقتي to word problems. طبعا we have one more video related to the challenging, to the algebraic questions. Let's now بقى move on to word problems and see how do I use all of what we explained in word problems. Let's go back to the notes and look at this page over here, which is page number 279. Page 279 in your notes. And now we're going to discuss questions that are not related to 3 بقى خلاص, and see how do we approach these questions. هنا بقى بيقول لي ايه? Again, this is in your notes, page 279. بيقول لي each time Christina throws a ball at a target, the probability that she hits is 1/3. So as we said, let's remember the steps of probability. Always classify the question and write the probabilities. وبعد كده write the scenario. And after you write the scenario, change to numbers and operations. And of course, remember, or means plus and means times. هنا بيقول لي each time Christina throws a ball at a target, the probability that she hits is 1/3. Immediately find the opposite event. طبعا 1/3, let's assume Christina is a basketball player. اهو هنقول دي النت بتاعتي اهو, this is the net. يعني let's assume this is a net and this is Christina with her hair اهو, and she's throwing basketballs هنا inside. Okay. طبعا Christina, as you can see, is not a very good player. Why? لأنه out of 3 hits she only scores 1. طبعا the not hit is immediately 2/3. Again, how did I get it? 1 minus. So this is classify and write the probabilities. Now let's look at the scenario اللي هو step 2. Christina throws the ball 3 times. Immediately, this is translated into what? First and second and third. This is the scenario. First, second and third. هي واقفة هنا قاعدة وأنا I'm the coach of this basketball team, and I'm the coach and I'm giving instructions. So what did I tell Christina? I told her, yeah, Christina, you need to improve your probability and you are going to throw the ball 3 times. يعني ايه 3 times? يعني first and second and third. Find the probability that she hits the target 3 times. طيب, أنا كcoach, what is my instruction to Christina? Christina, I want you to try to hit the ball 3 times. أيوة يا coach, يعني إيه؟ أنا مش فاهمة. يعني أنت عايزني أدخل الجون أول مرة وكمان أعمل جون تاني مرة وتالت مرة؟ يعني you want me to score 3 times؟ يعني you want me to hit and hit and hit؟ قال لها yes, I want you to try and focus and do that. This is the scenario. أهو hit and hit and hit. After I wrote the scenario, now I change into probabilities. What is the probability of the hit? 1 over 3. And يعني times. Another hit, 1 over 3. And يعني times. Another hit, 1 over 3. And يعني times. So it's 1 over 27. So actually, ما هو على فكرة probability بيستعملوها كتير في الحياة. يعني let's assume فعلا this is a real story and the coach is considering whether to take Christina in the team or not. Do you think he will take Christina in the team? Out of 27 trials بتدخل 3 اجوان مرة واحدة بس. So she's actually a miserable player. طبعا after he calculated the probability, he decided to make it a bit easy for Christina. So in the second قال لها طب خلاص يا كريستينا بما انه probability بتاعتك طلعت منيلة كده, let's look at the second question. Again, Christina throws how many times? First and second and third. Christina throws 3 times. الكوتش قال لها طب خلاص يا كريستينا, score at least once. At least once. Okay? يعني دخلي لي على الأقل جون. Now let's remember again. يعني إيه at least once? At least once mean the number and more. قالت له يا كوتش مش فاهمة. يعني إيه at least once؟ قال لها يعني جيبي جون أو جيبي جونين أو جيبي 3. يعني يا جون يا جونين يا 3. Let's start by the 3 goals. قالت له يعني أنت هنا عايزني أهت وأهت وأهت؟ قال لها لو تقدري. or تعالوا بقى نبتدي بقى هنا من الأول. طب يا كوتش أنت عايزني أجيب جون، أجيب الجون ده إمتى؟ في الرمية الأولانية ولا الثانية ولا الثالثة؟ قال لها مش فارقة يا ستي. You want to hit in the first and not hit in the second and the third مش أزمة. والله you want to hit in the second and miss the other two مش فارقة. You want to hit at last and miss the other two مش فارقة. So as you can see, we have 3 options for the 1 goal. طيب with the 2 goals قالت له طب انت عايزني اجيبهم جونين، اجيبهم امتى دول؟ قال لها برضو اللي يريحك. يعني she can hit the first 2 and lose the third, or lose the first, hit the last 2, or hit and then lose and then hit again. See how many options does she have? She has 3 here, 3 here, and 1 here. So she has a total of 7. هقعد كتير قوي كده وانا بحل في الامتحان اعمل كل ده. تقول يا مس طب ما ايه رأيك ان احنا we summarize؟ ماشي مفيش مشكلة عندي. اجاني يا جماعة انا ليه بطول؟ احنا بنشرح عشان نفهم. اوكي؟ ف for the 1 goal we have 3 options. And if you remember, Olna, this 3 that is outside the bracket indicates change of order. For the 2 goals, again, we have 3 options. وقلنا this 3 outside the bracket is an indication of change of order. Now, as for the hit 3 times, لا هنا ما بعملش times 3 مش محتاجة. I only يا جماعة multiply by a number outside the bracket if the items are different. These are the options of Christina. Okay, and we can do it. We can calculate it if we want. Okay, 3 times الhit و 2 not hit plus 3 times 2 hits and 1 not hit plus hit 3 times. And then I will do the math. And this is a valid way of solving. يعني أنا ما أقدرش أقول إن دي غلط. بس الطريقة دي شوية طويلة. Okay. هنا بعد كده times. Okay, and I'm just doing the math. Plus 3, open bracket, 1 over 3 times 1 over 3 times 2 over 3 plus هنا عندي 1 over 3 times 3 times 3. أنا بس بحسبها على طول. فطلعت 19 over 27. That's the probability. Okay. ودي طريقة حل صح جدا. بس إحنا كنا بنشرح إيه يا حلوين؟ كنا بنشرح ال opposite event. تاني بأكد in at least once questions you are allowed to use the shortcut of 1 minus the opposite event. What is the opposite event of Christina? What is the thing that Christina is not allowed to do? Christina is not allowed to not hit ونot hit ونot hit. هو الكوتش قال لها لو ضيعتي الثلاث اجوان انت out of the team. فلو انا عملت 1 minus not hit multiplied by not hit multiplied by not hit, do you think I will get the answer? Of course I will get the answer. تمام. ما احنا يا جماعه لو جينا فكرنا في كريستينا دي ايه كل الاحتمالات بتاعه الاستاذه كريستينا؟ كل الاحتمالات بتاعه كريستينا هم دول، ان هي تجيب جون، تجيب جونين، 3 اجوان، او ما تجيبش جوان خالص. ده الاوبوزيت ايفنت اللي هي what is she not allowed to do. So in at least one questions please use the shortcut of 1 minus the opposite event. 1 minus الممنوع. فلو انا عملت 1 minus 2 over 3 times 2 over 3 times 2 over 3, see, I got the same answer over here. I got the same exact answer. تمام. This is Christine. Now we have the word until, and then the rest of the video, or the rest of the questions, or the videos that I'm going to take, we're just going to be practice. يبقى احنا عملنا at least وعملنا independent. Now we're going to do the until questions. Let's look at this question over here in the same page. Each time, Eduardo بقى, so this is a basketball team, and the coach of the team has 2 players, Christina and Eduardo, and he decides he wants to see whether he will include them in the team or not. Each time Eduardo throws a ball at a target. Now we have Eduardo, and again he's a basketball player. فين لا البتاعة دي شكلها عامل ازاي؟ اوكي دي هنا عندنا النت اهي. And then we have Eduardo with his spiky hair, and he's throwing the basketball. Each time Eduardo throws a ball at the target, the probability that he hits is 1 over 4. طبعا Eduardo يعني أنيل من كريستينا. From every 4 throws, he scores only 1. Immediately find the opposite event, which is 3 over 4, not hit. Okay? He throws the ball until he hits the target. الكوتش واقف هنا وبيقول له ايه بقى يا ادواردو؟ بيقول له ما انتش مروح بيتكم الا لما تدخل لي جون يا ابني. مش معقول عمال يرمي وما يدخلش، يرمي وما يدخلش، يرمي وما يدخلش جون. قال له I need 1 goal. If you score a goal, I will not make you play again. خلاص هريحك واروحك. Find the probability that he first hits the target with the 4th throw. Please remember the until questions. Okay, so again, he is going to throw balls at the basket net or whatever. When he scores, he will stop. Meaning what? Meaning that he keeps missing. زي ما حكينا قصة oranges, if you remember at the beginning of the video. He keeps missing. When does he stop? He stops when he scores a goal. Find the probability that he first hits the target with the 4th throw. Immediately, let's translate this. This is question I. يعني ايه 4th throw? 4th throw يعني he hit how many times? أو يعني he threw the ball at the target 4 times. First and second and third and 4th. I want you to try and pause the video and write your scenario. So what is he thinking to himself? أو يعني هنا دي معناها إيه؟ He hits the target with the 4th throw. معناها إن هو جاب جون في المرة الرابعة. يبقى what happened in the first 3? He missed, and then eventually he hit at the 4th throw. So he missed the first 3. تمام؟ ده معنى كلمة until. طبعا now I will translate into numbers. Not hit times not hit times not hit times الhit. طيب, is there a shortcut of writing this? Yes, definitely there's a shortcut. I can combine these as 3 over 4 power 3 multiplied by 1 over 4. And then I'll do the math. Okay, 3 over 4 power 3 multiplied by 1 over 4. And then I will get an answer. هحسبها صح كده ولا إيه؟ I will get an answer of 27 over 2, 5, 6. Okay? طبعا this is a bad probability يعني. Okay. هنا بقى السؤال اللي تحت ده كان جه مرة كده في سنة من السنين وما جاش تاني بس بنحب إن إحنا نقوله يعني. I'm just going to go to the whiteboard and try and explain this to you. Okay? Now, when he hit the ball in the fourth throw, he missed 3 times. صح ولا لا؟ And the calculation was as follows. This is the probability of the hit, which was power of 3, and the power is the number of times he missed, and then we multiplied by the probability of the winning. Okay? طيب, what if he scored at the 7th time? So the 7th is translated into 1 over 4, which is the probability of the hit. How many times did he miss? What do you think? So if he scores at the 7th, that means that he missed 6 times. And 6 is going to be the power of this fraction. طيب, what if he scored on the 20th throw? The 20th throw اللي هو الهيت فيها اللي جاب فيها الجون هي ال 1 على 4. So how many times did he miss? He missed 19 times. And as we said, the number of misses or the number of times he missed is the power. Now let's look. The power is less than the 4th by 1. عدد المرات اللي هو بيمس أقل من ده ب1. عدد المرات اللي هو بيمس أقل من الثرو ب1. طيب, if he throws at the nth time, يعني لو هو جاب الجون في المرة الN, how many times will he miss? Since the number of times is this minus 1, the power in this case is going to be this minus 1. الرمية minus 1. هو عمل الجون في الرمية الN. So how many times did he miss? N minus 1. دي كانت جت مرة كده في سنة من السنين. فأنا بس بحب أقولها. So for question double I, as you can see, كده he misses at first and he scores at the end. So if he scores في المرة الN, the power of the miss will be the order minus 1. N minus 1. And that's it. This is the answer of question. Let me just write it again properly. This is the answer of question double I. 3 over 4 power N minus 1 multiplied by a 1 over 4. So in this question, we discussed the independent, we discussed at least, and we discussed it in full details. Now let's try and solve more questions related to word problems, and then we'll have, I guess, another video for the algebraic questions. Now in the notes, let's go back to this question over here. Another question. لا, but this is just a basic question هنا اهو. Word problems بقى. Yeah, word problems, and خلاص we're just going to lose يعني forget about the tree diagram. Okay, now let's look at question at page number 275. Let's look at page number 275 in the notes. Yeah, the question here says, here is a fair dice. خلاص احنا دلوقتي we explained we explained all the vocabulary words, so you should know what does every word mean. كلمة fair معناها ايه؟ كلمة fair معناها ال probabilities are the same. So طبعا the dice has 6 faces, so the probability of every face is 1 over 6. مسائل بقى الدايس على حسب بتتقسم بقى even odd على حسب. We'll see how it goes. probability of every face is 1 over 6. وبليز يا جماعة يا ريت لو أنا جيت قلت لكم مثلا what is the probability of the 5, the answer is not 5 over 6. probability of 5 معناها من ال6 faces دول في كام 5. So it's 1 over 6, not 5 over 6. Okay. It has 6 faces, so خلاص عرفنا يعني ايه fair, and we wrote the probability. The dice shows a score of 6. Harry throws the dice 3 times. Please remember to write the scenario. Okay. Harry throws the dice 3 times. 3 times is always translated into this: first and second and third. طب لو 2 times يبقى first and second. لو 4 times, first, second, third and fourth. Harry بيلعب طاولة مع أصحابه. He throws the dice 3 times. So this is something that he must do. يا مس طب هيرميهم مرتين؟ لا، 3. He must throw it 3 times. Work out the probability that the sum of the scores is 3. المشكلة في probability أحيانا فهم السؤال، إن أنتوا بتبقوا مش فاهمين هو عايز إيه. عشان كده بقول لكم دايما try and tell yourself a story. هاري قاعد بيلعب طاولة مع أصحابه، بقولوا له بص بقى، إحنا هنختبرك اختبار. أنت بترمي 3 رميات. Now, for every throw, he gets a number. If you get 3 numbers that when you add them, you get 3 at the end, هنعزمك على العشاء بره. So Harry is thinking to himself, ماشي، ده أنا هستغل الفرصة وعايز أتعشى بقى عشاء حلوة. Harry will throw the dice 3 times and he will write the score of every throw. فهو رمى الرمية الأولانية، طلع له رقم، كتبه. رمى الرمية الثانية، طلع له رقم، كتبه. رمى الرمية الثالثة، طلع له رقم، كتبه. بعد ما كتب الثلاث أرقام دي and he added them together, طلعت الحسبة كام؟ 3. So what are the numbers that he got? And please remember that the dice only has 6 numbers from 1 to 6. So in order to get 3 numbers that add up to 3, definitely I scored a 1 in the first hit and a 1 in the second hit and a 1 in the third hit. So he scored 1 and 1 and 1. This is the scenario. Now change to probabilities. The probability of 1 is 1 over 6, and يعني times probability of 1, and يعني times probability of 1. طبعا definitely this could be written as follows. And please يا جماعة, if you're going to write it as this shortcut, please remember to put the fraction in a bracket and to put the power outside the bracket, please. Okay, so I'll get this answer, which is 1 over 216. خدوا بالكم برضو هاري ناصح. Will he take the هو هنا يعني if you look at the probability, you will find that out of 216 chances for him to get a 1 3 times, he just has 1 chance. فلو هو مثلا هو واصحابه متفقين مين هيشيل الليله بتاعت العشاء، تمام، لو هما مثلا قالوا له لو جبت 1 3 مرات احنا هنعزمك، بس لو ما جبتش انت تعزمنا. Do you think he will take the deal? Definitely he will not take the deal. He just has 1 chance. من 216 مرة يجيب 1 3 مرات. فقال لهم لا يا جماعة والنبي أنا هتعشى في بيتنا، أنا مش عايز منكم حاجة. أوكي؟ طيب نيجي بقى على question B. Work out the probability that the dice shows a score of 1 on exactly one of the 3 throws. Every time whenever you're solving probability questions, it's like you're repeating from the scratch. كأنكم بتعملوا rewind. بتفرج على المسلسل من الأول، بعيد من الأول. يعني question B is not related to question A. Harry throws how many times? 3 throws. 3 throws is translated into first and second and third. First and second and third. He scores the 1 exactly once. يعني ال1 هيجيله مرة واحدة بس. طب والمرتين التانيين هيجيله ايه؟ You can pause the video كده and think. هيجيله 2، هيجيله 3، هيجيله 4، هيجيله 5، هيجيله 6. طيب لو قلنا 2 و 3 3 و 4 5 و 6 7 مفيش 7 سوري، ونغير الاوردر هنقعد نعمل 17 outcome. So he gets the 1 مرة واحدة. طب what about the other 2? The other 2 he gets the opposite event. So what is the opposite event? The opposite event is not 1. Please يا جماعة remember the opposite event. So he gets 1 once والمرتين التانيين not 1. بس Is this the only option that Harry has? ولا what do you think happens to the order? He can get the 1 in the first throw and then not 1, not 1. Or he can get the 1 in the second throw وهنا not 1 وهنا not 1. Or he can get the 1 in the third throw وفي الأول 2 not 1 not 1. طبعا this could be summarized into one bracket that includes okay واحدة 1 والاتنين التانيين not 1. Since I changed the order 3 times, I can just select one bracket of these and multiply by 3. طبعا I'm allowed to use this يا جماعة because I'm using the same probabilities. And now remove and put probabilities. The probability of 1 is 1 over 6. And الله ايه الأند ليه كده؟ أحيانا بس يا ولاد القلم بيهنج كده اللي هو كفاية. Okay, and then we have not 1 is 5 over 6, not 1 is 5 over 6. وهزعل قوي لو حد قال لي يا مس انت جبتي 5 على 6 دي منين؟ ما هو the maximum probability is 1. فلو ال 1 5 لو the maximum probability is 1. So if the probability يعني of the 1 is 1 over 6, then what is the probability of not 1? 1 minus 1 على 6, which is a 5 over 6. طبعا don't forget the 3 that is outside. 3 open bracket 1 over 1 over 6 multiplied by 5 over 6 times 5 over 6. صح كده؟ And then I will get the answer of 25 over 72. وتاني يا جماعة بس عايزين نأكد إنه no need to change into decimals. Please, no need. No changing to decimals. Don't simplify inside the question. يعني ممكن at the very end keep the question in its form. يعني لو السؤال decimal خليه decimal. لو السؤال fraction خليه fraction. And طول ما الإجابة أقل من 1 ما عنديش مشكلة. As long as your fraction is less than 1, then I have no problem at all. Now, how do I know that my fraction is less than 1? لو اللي فوق أقل من اللي تحت. موضوع بسيط جدا يعني. Okay. Let's go to more. So we did this over here, the dice question. Let's go to more word problems. فين هنا أهو. Page number 280 in your notes. Page number 280 in your notes. I guess in this video, we're just going to do 2 more questions. Oh, actually, we can do 3. We'll see how it goes. Okay. More word problems in the notes. You can actually pause the video if you want and solve these questions, page 280 and 281, and then check them. هنا بيقول لي إيه بقى in this question over here. Now, as you can see, this is a word problem and you have shapes. خلاص بقى we're going to forget about the tree. بيقول لي Ashok has 6 coins in his pocket. As we said, step number 1, always categorize your question and write the probabilities. He has 5 cents, he has 10 cents, and he has 20 cents. So this question is classified into 5 cents, 10 cents, 20 cents. Write the probabilities immediately. ال 5 cent is 1 على 6. أو لو هنقول يا جماعة 5 جنيه و10 جنيه و20 جنيه. أنا متحيزة صراحة للعملة بتاعتنا. أوكي؟ فلو أنا معايا واحدة 5 جنيه then the probability is 1 على 6. 2 10 جنيه 2 على 6. 3 20 جنيه 3 على 6. طبعا as we said, please don't simplify the probabilities in case the question is without replacement. طيب أشوك بيعمل إيه بقى؟ دول في جيبه. الفلوس دي موجودة في جيبه. He takes at random a coin from his pocket. He records its value and puts it back. يعني هو قاعد في الأتوبيس زهقان حط إيده في جيبه طلع لقاها 5 جنيه قام مرجعها تاني حط إيده في جيبه تاني طلع واحدة كمان لقاها 10 جنيه زهقان عمال يشوف. وتاني بأكد يا جماعة إنه in these questions we don't take 2 items مرة واحدة. We take an item followed by another. Puts it back into his pocket. This indicates that this is a question that is with replacement. And if you remember the with replacement questions, يعني the probabilities are the same all through the question. The probabilities are the same all through the question. Okay, let's look at question number 8. Calculate the probability that he takes 2 20s. ترجمة حرفية يا جماعة من غير فزلكة. he takes a coin, then he takes another. يبقى what is my scenario? First and second. على طول. First and second. This is the scenario. First and second. He takes 2 20s. فهو عمل ايه بقى وهو في الاتوبيس؟ حط ايده في جيبه، طلع ورقه طلعت ب 20 جنيه. قام مرجعها تاني. وبعد كده قعد يتكلم في التليفون مثلا. وبعد كده حط ايده في جيبه طلع الثانيه. فطلعت ايه الثانيه؟ 20. So he took 20 and 20. This is the scenario. And as I told you in my previous videos, please don't use brave hearts. ما تبقوش brave heart and then you write numbers immediately. Write the scenario first, then change to probabilities. Now, the probability of the 20 is 3 over 6, multiplied by another probability of 20, which is 3 over 6. So 3 over 6 times 3 over 6, which is 1 over 4. Okay, that's it. خلاص خلصت. And as we said, questions A, B, C, D, whatever, they're not related to one another. Okay, so question B. Oh, question B, as if I am telling the story all over again. بعيدها من الأول. How many coins does he take? He takes 2 coins. First and second. أهو على طول. This is my scenario. Calculate the probability that the second coin he takes has a higher value than the first. قاعد بقى بيراهن نفسه وبيقول ايه؟ أنا كده كده هاخد 2 coins بس عايز التانية تبقى أكتر من الأولانية. The second higher than the first. He has 5 جنيه and 10 جنيه and 20 جنيه. He has 5, 10 and 20. He is going to take 2 coins, بس with a very important condition that the second coin is higher than the first. Start with order. Higher than the first. If I took 5 at the first pick a number that is higher. يبقى أنا ممكن أكون أخذت 5 and 10. And 10 is higher than the 5. Now here بقى can I change order? لا, I cannot change order لأن هو قال لي الثانية أكتر من الأولانية. طيب, let's focus on the 5. If I took 5 at first, 10 is higher, with 20 is higher. So what is my other option? If I take 5, then the 20 is higher than the 5. يبقى أنا ممكن أخذ 5 and 10. Or I can take 5 and 20. خلاص خلصت ال 5. Let's discuss these two. How do I take 2 coins from these two so that the second is higher than the first? Definitely, I will take 10 and 20. Can I shuffle it into 20 and 10? لا, because the condition here says that the second must be higher than the first. So these are all the options that I have. 5 and 10, or 5 and 20, or 10 and 20. أنا طبعا يا جماعة in math إحنا we write them next to each other horizontally يعني بس عشان بوريكم بس الأرقام. Now the probability of the 5 is 1 over 6 multiplied probability of 10, and this is the 5 and the 10. Probability of 5 1 على 6, probability of 20 3 over 6, probability of 10 2 over 6 multiplied by probability of 20, and then I place all of this on the calculator and I get whatever answer. Okay, فهنا هنعملها على طول 1 over 6 times, خليني بس بحسبها. يبقى هنا عندي 1 over 6 times 2 over 6 plus 1 over 6 times 3 over 6 plus 2 over 6 times 3 over 6. هتطلع لي الإجابة 11 over 36. 11 over 36. Let me just make sure that the answer is correct. Okay, great. تمام? Not that bad والله, and you just need to get used to it. Okay. هنا السؤال اللي تحتيه. Now, as we said, sometimes you just get confused with the questions. اللي هو ال questions بتاعتي دي بتتقسم ازاي؟ يعني how do we classify these questions؟ طيب. هنا بقى طبعا هو في الامتحانات ما بيقوليش دي with replacement ودي without replacement, ما بيعملش فضايح كده زي ما انا هنا عامله. احنا هنا علشان بنشرح. This you have to pick it out on your own in exams, and you will be given keywords to tell you whether it's with replacement or without replacement. And if you remember in one of the videos I said قلت لكم إنه in one of the videos if it doesn't say then it's without replacement. لو ما قاليش أنا واخد الحاجة ورجعها. طيب, let's look at this question over here. Now this question is a bit confusing. Why? Because you wouldn't know whether I would classify it into colors or shapes. You will always be guided by the examiner. يعني the examiner لازم يبقى مديها لي. يعني المسألة دي هقسمها black و white ولا هقسمها circles و squares ولا هقسمها black circle و white. يعني فاهمين؟ هنشوف. هنا بيقول لي 4 of the shapes are squares, 1 is كذا, the square is black, 3 squares are white. ماشي, شكرا على موضوع التعبير اللي مالناش دعوة بيه ده. The 5 shapes are put in a bag. Now in this question I will not be able to classify it yet. Jasmine takes a shape at random from the bag 150 times. She replaces the shape every time. يعني هي بتاخد item وترجعه, تاخد item وترجعه, تاخد item وترجعه. Work out an estimate for the number of times she will take a white square. Now, if you remember these questions, في video part 1, اللي هو, if you remember, in these sort of questions, the frequency is required. And if you remember, in these sort of questions, when frequency is required, you find the probability and multiply by the total frequency. هنا بيقول لي إيه بقى? Work out an estimate for the number of times she will take a white square. So, what is the probability of the white square? From these 5 items, how many white squares do I have? 3. So the probability of the white square is 3 over 5. So 3 over 5. Allah. 3 over 5 multiplied by 150 هتطلع لي 90 times. Okay. بس دي سهلة مش صعبة. نيجي بقى على القصة الثانية خالص. Alec takes at random from the bag and doesn't replace. So in the bag, I have these 5 items, as you can see. And Alec takes at random a shape from the bag and doesn't replace. Now let's remember what happens to the without replacement questions. Now, if you remember, the denominator decreases by 1, and this is something that must happen. دي حاجة أساسية بتحصل عندي. And the numerator decreases by 1 if I am taking same item, if you remember. Bashir then takes a shape from the bag. يبقى أنا عندي Alec وبشير. Alec وبشير is translated into first and second. Or if you wish to write it as Alec and Bashir, مش هتفرق. And if you remember برضه يا جماعة, this is the first and this is the second. As we discussed in without replacement questions, on the first probability is always the original probability, and the second probability is the one in which the denominator must decrease by 1, and as for the numerator, it will decrease if I am taking same item. Okay? طيب. هنا بيقول لي إيه بقى في السؤال؟ They both take a square. طب لونه إيه السكوير ده؟ ما جابش سيرة. Just a square. don't overanalyze. Let's write the scenario first. يعني إيه they both take a square? يعني Alec took a square and Bashir took a square. Regardless the color. Regardless the color. So the first is the original probability of the square, and the second we'll see. أنا Alec أهو. أنا Alec. I will still choose from here. How many squares do I have initially? 4 out of 5. Okay? I took a square. امشي انتي دي بعيدة كده, بعيدي عني. I took a square. Again, regardless its color. Let's assume I took this one. أهو. Now, I am Bashir. أهو, I'm on the other side. I am Bashir. I'm going to take a square. What happened to the total? As you can see, the total decreased by 1. So this 5 became 4. طيب, am I taking same item? هل بشير ده هياخد square برضو? Yes. بشير will take a square. أهو, قدام عينيكوا أهو. How many squares do I have? 3. Okay? So I will decrease the numerator as well by 1. Why? Because I am taking the same item. I am taking the same item. طبعا the answer is what? 3/5. And this is the first story. Again, the questions are not related to one another. So question I ملوش دعوة double I. Double I كأني بعيد القصة من الأول. Now let's look back. They take shapes of the same color. They take shapes of the same color. Again, we have Alec and Bashir. وخلاص بقى يا جماعة, we already discussed about what happens to the first probability and what happens to the second probability. They both take the same color. Now, what are the colors that I have in the question? The colors that I have in the question are black and white. So, double I, the question will be classified into black and white, regardless the shape. So, question I was discussing squares regardless the color. Question double I am discussing the color regardless the shape. So, the probability of the black is 2/5. The probability of the white is 3/5. Same color, meaning what? If Alec takes black, Bashir will take black. Or if Alec decides to take white, Bashir will take what as well? Will take white. So these are the scenarios that we have, and I think it's easy. Yani black and black or white and white. Type black and black or white and white. Okay, as we said earlier, the first is always the original probability. Okay, I'm going to write them here. Black and black. وهنا عندي white and white. The highlighted yellow is the original probability. The highlighted green is the one with the changes. Now أهو. أنا ألك واقف هنا أهو. I will still choose from the black. So how many black do I have? 2/5. أهو. And طبعا you don't have to do it all the way بقى من الرسمة. In without replacement questions, as we said, this 5 immediately changes into 4. And since I am taking same item, I decrease the 2 as well into 1. أهو. I am Alec, I took one of the black. خدت دي. أهو. بقت 1/4. مش محتاج. Okay? Now let's do it بقى. Here, this part, without looking at the diagram. White and white. The original white is 3/5. Since this is without replacement, I decrease the denominator by 1, so it's 4. And why will I decrease up as well by 1? Because I am taking same item. I took white as well, so the 3 decreases into 2. Again, أهو, if I am Alec over here, and initially I have 3 white out of the total, if I took white, I took 1 away, and then Bashir over here will take, so he has 2/4. طبعا this is displayed, explained in details in, I think, video number 3, I guess. Okay. طبعا هنا بقى I put it on the calculator. 2/5 multiplied by 1/4 plus 3/5 multiplied by 2/4. On the calculator, I get an answer of 2/5. 2/5. Sorry guys, I had something with the internet connection. معلش تعرفين الانترنت أحيانا بتهيس كده. Okay. Now the last question I'm going to do in this video over here is this question over here, and then the next video will be word problems with algebra. Word problems with algebra. Okay. Now with the word problems, let's look at this example over here so that we're done with all the questions in the notes. تمام. هنا بيقول لي, this is in your notes, page number 282. بيقول لي the sides of a fair six-sided spinner. Now again, fair, خلاص بقى, as you all know, means that the probabilities are the same, numbered from 1 to 6. The dice is thrown 3 times. خلاص, I guess بقى you can figure it out now. 3 times means it's changed into first and second and third. First and second and third. Find the probability that it shows 1 at least twice. Now, we did the at least once questions. Now we're going to do the at least twice. Now, my advice is use the shortcut of at least once questions when you're dealing, use the opposite event when you're dealing with at least once questions. When you're dealing with at least twice questions, the opposite event مش هتفرق معايا هنا في حاجة. يعني at least twice, at least twice يعني 2 or more. يعني the one will appear 2 times or it will appear 3 times. Okay? طبعا in this option over here, since I can change the order, so the order could be changed into not 1, 1, 1, أو إيه؟ 1, not 1, and 1. These are the options that we have. ما هو أنا بقى هسألكوا سؤال. What is the opposite event of at least twice? 2 or more, فالتانية هتكون إيه؟ 1 and less. يعني 1 و not 1. طبعا دي 3 times. Not 1, not 1, not 1. فلو جيتوا بصيتوا هتلاقوا إنه they're almost the same. in the at least twice questions, there is no need to use the opposite event. مش معناها إنها غلط. You can use the opposite event if you wish, بس مش هتفرق معايا حاجة. So at least twice يعني 2 or more. 1 و not 1. الونين دول بقى ممكن يبقوا أول 2 أو آخر 2 أو الأولاني والآخراني. دي 2 or more يعني 3 ونات. طبعا خلاص بقى these they can be combined into one bracket that has 1 1 على 6 1 على 6 و not 1 which is 5 على 6. Since I changed the order 3 times, so I can multiply by 3. Or 3 ونات. 3 ونات يعني 1 على 6 multiplied by 1 على 6 multiplied by 1 على 6. And then I place this on the calculator. 1 على 6. 1 على 6 multiplied by 1 على 6 multiplied by 5 على 6 plus, طبعا you know very well that this could be written as 1 over 6 all power 3. Please يا جماعة, if you're going to use the power shortcut, put it in a bracket and the power outside. صح كده. And then on the calculator, I will get an answer of 2 over 27. 2 over 27. Okay, so let's summarize كده. What did we discuss in this video? In this video over here, we discussed the at least once and the shortcut of it, which is the opposite event. We discussed the at least twice. We discussed independent questions. And we discussed the word until. Okay, the last video, inshallah, and I hope yani, it's going to be the last video of probability, is going to be the word problems with algebra. Inshallah, I will try and do it today as well so that you have the probability videos already. Happy New Year, everyone. Happy 2024. يا رب كده التوفيق للجميع. And I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.